Tonight, heat and humidity.
It's like draining. At the end of the day, you're pretty exhausted.
Warnings across the region with the potential for sweltering temperatures this week. Plus, bringing in the bishop. A new leader installed at St. Peter's Cathedral, taking charge of the London Diocese. And remembering Arthur Voaden Secondary.
It is not just a building, it's a family, and it's been very hard for everyone.
A final tour through the halls of an esteemed local institution.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with intense heat across southern Ontario with Environment Canada warnings issued for our region. As Brian Bicknell reports, if you plan on spending time outside this week, take precautions.
Heavy work in the intense heat. It can be punishing. Josh Cahill of Innovative Landscaping says he and his crew do whatever they can to stay safe.
Yeah, it definitely takes its toll on you with the heat, especially. It's like draining. At the end of the day, you're pretty exhausted, just taking lots of breaks. Sometimes we'll switch jobs around to accommodate more like shady jobs for heat waves like this.
Environment and Climate Change Canada has issued a yellow or extreme heat warning with increased risk to health and daily activities. Dr. Anna Guns of LHSC says people often may not even realize they're suffering from heat-related conditions.
So heat affects our whole body, our mental health and our physical health. And so the most important thing is to stay cool. And I think what people don't realize is, while it might be intuitive that people might get heat stress or heat stroke in the moment, it also sets us up, puts a lot of strain on our body for other illnesses as well.
We had a short-lived heat event back in May, but this is the first extended heat warning of the year, expected to last all through the week and possibly into the weekend. Daytime temps between 31 and 36 are expected, and the health unit says there won't be much relief overnight, with lows from 22 to 25.
It's really important to check up on friends, families, neighbors who may be at increased risk of heat-related illnesses. Folks who are living in indoor environments where there's no air conditioning is a significant risk too, and just making sure that they have the necessary supports to get through this heat wave.
The one thing that we have to learn is we need to stop going and going. You know, it is hot outside, and if it's hot inside as well, that affects our body. And so the temperatures at which it does this, people with health effects, it's going to start happening at 26, 27 degrees, especially if they can't cool off at night.
The city has opened all of its cooling centers and community centers and libraries during regular operating hours.
So there's all kinds of populations out there who need to stay cool in this weather and may not have the resources available to them. So we want to make sure we open up as much as possible to the various populations that are out there that might need somewhere to go and be cool.
In the meantime, health officials say drink plenty of fluids, seek shade, and minimize your outdoor activities where possible. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
Good evening. I'm meteorologist Gary Archibald for CTV News. We are looking at a warning map here. Obviously, a blanket of orange and yellow. It's all heat warning for southern Ontario. The orange means that it's high probability, high risk. The yellow municipalities as colored, meaning that it's moderate probability and still high risk. So temperatures averaging around 33 over the next 3 days straight, and overnight lows between 20 and 21 degrees. It will feel like 40 to 45 tomorrow. Breakdown whether or not we're going to see any relief, if this heat warning will be extended into the weekend coming up. All of that with my complete forecast in just moments. For now, I'll send it back to you at the desk. Carlyle?
Thanks very much, Gary. Ottawa police say they're investigating an apparent murder-suicide involving 2 young children. With the latest on the case, which investigators are calling complex, here's Josh Morano.
Investigators spent much of the day at this home in Findlay Creek, where 2 children were found dead. Police say a second scene in Kemptville is also central to the investigation. According to residents, police arrived on scene around 10 a.m. Monday morning, where neighbors later learned 2 young boys aged 7 and 12 were found deceased. Ottawa police say the children's father was later located dead in a parking lot in Kemptville, roughly 30 minutes away from here. Investigators have determined the deaths were the result of a murder-suicide. Throughout the day, neighbors gathered outside the police tape, many struggling to comprehend how such a tragedy could happen in their neighborhood.
It's horrible to hear it, for sure, you know. My heart goes out for the family. We walk by every time, you know, and come to the park right behind there. So it's, you know, and we have kids as well, so.
Just disbelief, you know, like how someone killed 2 kids.
It's crazy, man. If somebody, like, I have kids, you know, I have that feeling, you know, I cannot, you know, it's crazy.
Police have not released the identities of the victims. The investigation remains ongoing as officers try to determine what led up to the deaths. Police are expected to provide more details shortly. Josh Morano, CTV News.
Provincial police are reporting a drowning in Grand Bend from this past weekend. They say emergency crews were called Sunday afternoon to South Beach in Lambton Shores, where a 67-year-old man was found in the water unresponsive. Police say bystanders brought him to shore and attempted life-saving measures before he was taken to hospital, but he did not survive. London police say they've arrested 2 suspects through a downtown shooting investigation from last month. They say they've laid multiple weapon charges against 17-year-old Kareem Alain and 19-year-old Jaquan Jazia. Both of them are from the Toronto area. Alain in particular also faces a slew of other charges, including violating probation and aggravated assault. Police had previously reported a man was found with an apparent gunshot wound back on May 28th near Blackfriars and Wilson Avenue. A ceremony today at St. Peter's Cathedral in London welcoming the 11th bishop in the history of the London Diocese. With more on the event, here's Nick Paparella.
Before a packed crowd at St. Peter's Cathedral, the Most Reverend Daniel Meem was installed as the new bishop for the Diocese of London.
Accordingly, relying on the counsel of the Dicastery for Bishops and acting by our apostolic authority, we release you from your previous bond with your former see and appoint you Bishop of London.
During the ceremony, Bishop Meem took time to thank his predecessor, Bishop Ronald Fabro, who held the position in the diocese for 24 years.
As I crossed the threshold today, I promised you that I did so humbly, aware that I follow in the footsteps of some very, very fine bishops, not the least of whom is Bishop Ronald Fabro, who has led this diocese with such faith and dedication for 24 years.
After spending 9 years as bishop in the Diocese of Peterborough, he's looking forward to embracing the new challenge in the larger Diocese of London.
To be received is to be welcomed. So I thank you for being here today to welcome me as the 11th Bishop of London, to pray for my ministry among you and with you, our ministry together, to pray that it may bear good fruit here in this diocese.
Everlasting is your reign.
Nick Paparella, CTV News.
London transit officials say they will consider new ways to boost ridership in the midst of a double-digit decline over the last year. With more on the impact for local bus service, here's Daryl Newcomb.
Ridership on London transit buses remains well below 2025 levels, the result of a federal cap on international students that impacts enrollment at Fanshawe College and Western University. An update to the London Transit Commission explains that over the first 5 months of this year, ridership on city buses was 12.6% lower than 2025 levels for the same period, due mainly to the flow-through impacts of the reduction in tuition pass riders. So councillors Sam Trosso proposed exploring a special transit pass for employees who work at Western, Fanshawe, local hospitals, and even some large private employers.
There might be some resistance, but I think looking at the traffic coming in and out of campus during rush hour, it's just intolerable.
He also pitched a park and ride service that would shuttle people between large parking lots to events like Rock the Park, Sunfest, and London Knights games.
What are some programs that might boost ridership? These are just two that I suggested. There might be more.
Staff said both initiatives had been explored before, but large employers weren't willing to cover the cost, and shopping malls weren't willing to offer their lots to non-customers for a park and ride.
We'll see from staff a report that lets us know what's possible, what makes good financial sense, because we wouldn't want to do it unless we saw a net benefit.
Ultimately, the Commission supported having staff explore both initiatives again and report back in October.
The number one thing I think that would help more people take the bus and more people be happy with the service is more buses and more coverage and more service, and that, of course, is a financial choice that Council can make.
And the Transit Commission is also looking to improve rider experience by partnering for 1 year with a company called Transit App to provide riders with real-time bus information as well as assistance planning their routes. The 1-year pilot will cost the LTC about $159,000.
One up-to-date app that they can use to see where the buses are, if they're going to be on time, if they're detoured. So I think it's wise for us to do a 1-year pilot, see how it's working, see if people like it.
As of last September, almost 15,000 LTC riders were already using Transit App. The partnership should start this fall. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Construction has closed down a major roadway north of St. Thomas for the next month. The Highway 3 bypass from Centennial Avenue to First requires storm sewer and utility work. It's also part of the highway's future twinning in anticipation of the Volkswagen plant opening. A second stage of construction will be required in September. The local Salvation Army announced a substantial donation from this past weekend. This image was posted by VersaBank, providing a $60,000 donation to the Harvest Hope campaign, providing meals, groceries, and other supports to people who need them. The check was presented during the bank's annual summer celebration in London. 4 London Knights heard their names called this weekend during the NHL's entry draft. Maxim Sokolovsky was the top Knight selected, taken 27th overall by the Philadelphia Flyers. The Ottawa Senators selected Jackson Cover 5 picks later. Ryan Brown was taken in the 5th round by the Dallas Stars, and then the Boston Bruins took Jacob Van Deven 2 picks later. According to the CHL, this was the 58th consecutive NHL draft where a player from the London Knights was selected, and that's a league record. A local Paralympic champion is providing a behind-the-scenes look at the medical team behind his performance. As Lauren Stallone reports, you can't perform at the highest level without expert support and preparation.
It's a look of admiration and pride, something London native Mark Idison has worn well since returning home from the Milano Cortina 2026 Winter Paralympics.
When I think about the journey, I just think about all the people that have been involved that have helped me along the way.
Idison skipped the Canadian wheelchair curling team to gold in March.
It really takes a village to, get an athlete to the world stage.
Now, Parkwood Institute in London is hosting a panel on the rehabilitation, medical, and performance strategies that supported the team's victory.
I find one of my roles in travel is to be a cheerleader. And that being a positive influence, always being happy regardless of the result.
We start the year by getting to know our athletes, them as people, as well as athletes and their needs, getting all their medical information, doing a physical exam.
In 2007, Idison was involved in a helicopter crash resulting in a spinal cord injury. He spent the next 6 months recovering at Parkwood Institute.
While here at Parkwood Hospital, I was introduced to sport again.
When Mark went and tried wheelchair curling for the first time, he came back to New Physio and told me how excited he was and that he had told the group there that his intention was to become a Team Canada Paralympian within that sport.
Following the endless hours of preparation and training, the team has grown quite close.
The gold medal is the icing on the cake.
Even sharing some unique pre-match rituals.
Mark and I had our own little rituals as far as getting him ready for media appearances and clipping on his microphone, for example, and he made sure that I was the one to do that before every game he played at the Paralympics.
It was a fun moment for Dr. Macaluso and I to share. Just he would clip my microphone on my lapel before every game, and we didn't miss a game, and I think that that helped lead to the gold.
And while the gold may hang around Idison's neck, to him, it represents every hand that helped get him there. Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
A new defibrillator was donated today in Port Bruce through an ongoing charity campaign.
Today we honor John Franklin Ball. John Ball was Merchant Marine in World War II. He was a civilian sailor, and he was a mechanic and ran the damage control systems. And to me, that's totally in line with the Coast Guard Auxiliary.
The defibrillator was delivered to the Canadian Coast Guard's rescue unit in Port Bruce, funded by the Dave Mounsey Memorial Fund. It's the 258th donation, each named for a fallen first responder. This one was provided in memory of Port Burwell native John Wall, who was killed in 1942 when his vessel was torpedoed by a German submarine.
We're all trained in how to use them. It was just a matter of getting permission and that sort of thing. Then when Patrick came along, I was like, oh my goodness, this is just absolutely fantastic. And it will be put to good use. And hopefully, like Patrick says, we never have to use it.
We've had 8 confirmed life saves in the 17 years we've been here. We know that there's been more, but we confirm that there's been 8, and that makes all of the time and effort worth it. And it's also twofold. We're putting this out in public access areas, but we're also remembering these men and women that in some cases, like John Ball, may not be remembered much at all because there's no real family or photo of them at this point.
A London man is providing an opportunity to play hockey for families who might not otherwise be able to. Brent Lale has more on the Savneth Foundation, what it means to the kids who get to hit the ice.
We're just breaking barriers. We're providing kids the opportunity to play hockey. Go boys and girls, let's go!
Savneth and his foundation are providing new Canadians and those in low-income housing the opportunity to get on the ice.
Equipment, jersey, ice time, to see them love the game, to be a part of something, be a part of a team.
We're gonna go around.
He had more than a dozen young volunteers helping these kids learn skills over the course of 6 sessions.
It's really fun. I love it.
With his parents cheering him on, 11-year-old Nico was improving every session.
Shooting, maybe like passing a little bit, and skating. It's such a big opportunity.
New to Canada just 5 years ago, Sahanzi Kandri was thankful for this opportunity. Living in London Middlesex housing, she never imagined her son could play.
And this is the biggest fear of my family, that I have 3 boys. And we're just afraid to find out one of our boys interested in hockey, which is that's actually one of the most expensive games here in Canada. We got the ads in our board that mentioned that about the free hockey, and I was like, oh my goodness, it's amazing.
The players were a range of kids from all walks of life, just like Savneth.
I was a kid that lived in London housing. I played hockey with baseboards. We used shopping carts as nets. To dream to be on the ice, to play hockey is something I hope and inspire these kids to make that much of a difference.
And they all improved.
From the first day, they couldn't get off the ice. Snowman, and now they're skating across. You see parents cheering. Remarkable.
It's amazing for this opportunity, and he was so happy, and he just now very exciting what's going to be happening.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
When we come back, history on the pitch, Canada's World Cup moment and what it means to the sport in this country. Plus, looking ahead to the Canada Day forecast with sweltering heat expected. Welcome back. History on the pitch for Canada yesterday, advancing to the FIFA World Cup's last 16 for the first time. Their next opponents will be determined later tonight, setting up the next chapter in what's been a wild ride for players and their supporters. Adrian Gobriel reports.
From patriotic pandemonium on the Pacific coast to a triumphant tidal wave of emotion along the shores of Lake Ontario. Inside bars in Montreal and watch parties in Edmonton, Canada's win is quickly becoming a where were you moment in Canadian sports history.
I was watching the game a bit at my house, and then I went to my aunt's house for a bit.
There's a great patio down the street from my house.
I was watching at home.
Schaffelberg's ball into the box, headed away by Ocon. It's Eustachio!
The swift and steady right foot of Stefan Eustachio catapulting Canada to victory. The team, this World Cup, has galvanized a nation.
They did it! I'm crying.
Overcome with emotion, Canadian women's soccer legend Christine Sinclair's tears of joy offer a glimpse of what this moment means for the sport and our country.
Okay, let's book our flight.
To the round of 16 at the World Cup.
Thousands did book a flight to LA to witness history in person. Thousands more will now head to Houston. On home soil, the win for some supersedes soccer.
We're living in a time where we're rethinking what it means to be Canadian. Having cultural touchstones like soccer matches and the program succeeding like it never has before, I think that's important to us.
You guys are Canadian heroes.
Coach Jesse Marsh's pitch-side post-game speech sharing what this victory could mean.
Canadian heroes for the future children of this country who play this sport. The sport has a big future because of you guys.
If these pint-sized players on the pitch are any indication, Marsh's pep talk is on the mark.
What do you love about soccer?
When you get a lot of good goals. Well, I usually play defense.
At my old school, soccer was like the biggest thing ever. Like, we fought over which fields we would play in. I could be a really good soccer player one day.
As a country falls in love with the beautiful game, the ties that bond a nation are pulled together.
A national soccer movement is afoot across Canada as the team elevates its game. A country is taking notice and taking to the pitch.
Adrian Gobriel, CTV News.
A Chinese dissident who spent 2 decades behind bars for criticizing the Tiananmen Square crackdown has found refuge in Canada. Judy Trin has more on his escape from China and his fears of retaliation.
A welcome that took 11 years to become a reality. Dong Guangping, a Chinese human rights activist and political prisoner, is finally on Canadian soil. Through an interpreter, he recounted his escape from China.
I
had the small rubber boat, and I bought the engine from China.
Before sunrise, Dong set off from the northern coast of China in a rubber dinghy with a cell phone. He spent 40 hours at sea, and as his cell phone battery was dying, he was rescued by fishermen from South Korea. Dong said he risked his life for freedom.
The Chinese communist regime, they can kill me, but they cannot kill my dream. And my dream is I have to live in wherever is that allow me to think freely.
This is Dong's 4th attempt to flee China. He was a former soldier and police officer who criticized China's 1989 massacre of student protesters in Tiananmen Square. Over the years, he has been thrown in prison several times for speaking out. He says in 2015, he was put in isolation for 5 months. The guards never took off his handcuffs.
I was kept in a room, no window, no light, no clock.
In 2022, his daughter, who was able to get asylum in Canada, petitioned the Chinese government to free her father. He had been hiding in Vietnam during an earlier escape, but was arrested by Vietnamese police and turned over to Chinese authorities. This time, officials in South Korea notified the Canadian embassy, and they sent him a ticket to Toronto.
There must be power above us because this is so amazing. And especially, he never gave up.
Now that he's safe in Canada, Dong Guangping says he'll continue speaking out against China's human rights abuses. At 68 years old, he wants to find work as a commercial truck driver, but he'll settle for driving an Uber. Judy Trin, CTV News, Toronto.
Temperatures are expected to remain in the mid-30s all this week, and when you factor in the humidity, it could feel like 40 plus. And right in the middle of that, Canada Day, John Venavalley-Rao has more on what that could mean for national celebrations.
Under an intense sun and temperatures starting to soar, in Toronto, many taking the season's first major heat wave in stride.
Kind of disgusted, but also I love warm weather and winter makes me sad, so I'll take the heat.
Environment Canada issuing yellow warnings in parts of Ontario for what it's calling a long-duration heat event. Temperatures climbing to 35 or more by midweek, and the humidex expected to hit 45, while southern Quebec is also expecting to feel the heat starting Wednesday.
This has got all the elements of it that makes it a really good old-fashioned classic July heat wave. The length, the heat, the humidity.
It's all part of a sprawling heat dome, also baking large parts of the central and eastern U.S. as Americans prepare to celebrate the country's 250th anniversary. And amid World Cup games and festivities, these fans trying to stay cool in Texas. In Toronto, the temperature is expected to be above 30 Celsius for at least 6 days in a row. And Canada Day is expected to be one of the hottest ever, with a forecast high of 35 without the humidity. In Windsor, 36. And it could break a record. Experts say the first heat wave is usually the most dangerous and are advising people to stay hydrated and out of the sun to avoid heat stroke.
I think people need to remember that extreme heat is dangerous, especially to older individuals, especially to people with pre-existing medical problems.
That danger has been felt across Europe, where the heat wave there has brought about a spike in deaths. The two weather events aren't linked, but share similarities.
So we're under the same kind of a weather pattern. It's a high pressure area that sits there and won't leave.
Meanwhile, Environment Canada models suggest in parts of the country this will be a warmer than normal summer. And Dave Phillips suggests this heat wave may just be a taste of what's to come.
John Venavalley-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
Gary Archibald is with me tonight, and we heard the term heat wave in that story a couple times. Gary, I know when meteorologists use that term, they don't just throw it around. It is a specific criteria that we are meeting. I mean, humidex in the 40s, it sounds like it's going to be brutal.
You're right about that, Carlyle. At least 3 consecutive days with daytime highs of 31 degrees Celsius. The lows accompanying those highs on the opposite end of the temperature spectrum have to be at 21 degrees Celsius or higher. The overnight, tomorrow morning pre-dawn, between 22 and 23, feeling like about 30. And that's at 3 or 4 a.m. Today's daytime high 29, 4 degrees above seasonal. So far the low this morning, before most of us were up 17, it felt like about 26, 27. Right now 28, a bit hazy at the airport in the great city of London. We're looking at upper 20s, low 30s right now. Feeling a lot warmer. Windsor feels like 40, 37 in Chatham-Kent, 36 at the airport. That's what the reading is there. 38 in Sarnia. You get the idea. So, sweltering conditions, whether the sun is up or down, so to speak. We are in the warm slot of a ridge of high pressure that's keeping temperatures well above seasonal day and night. Early mornings through to end of day for at least the next 4, maybe 5 days. Ridge of high pressure circulates clockwise, so on this particular satellite radar imagery, we get a sense of what's going on as showers and thunderstorms work around the perimeter. Meanwhile, we stay relatively quiet. The winds will be picking up out of the southwest tomorrow afternoon. Worst case scenario, closest showers might just slide through the London, Kitchener, Waterloo area and a little bit further south towards Port Stanley. If we see it at all, it is light. And there's even some, possibility that some scattered thunder showers could be in store. I think the probabilities are less than 30% of an occurrence. Look at this breakdown. Mostly sunny, hazy towards 8 o'clock. We're still hovering around 28, feeling like 36. Mostly clear through 10 o'clock, and then some clouds roll in by midnight. At midnight, 23 under partly cloudy conditions, feels like 31. Here's your 7-day forecast. Highs and lows anticipated for the next 7-day stretch. And of course, the probability of precipitation stat is a probability stat that suggests an occurrence occurring within that 24-hour period. And right now, the probability stats for significant rainfall are less than 30%, if not 40% through to next week, which means we're not likely to see much rainfall. In the next 4 days straight, actually counted 5. The average daytime temperature in London's about 31.7. The average daytime temperature in Goderich, for example, will be close to about 32. We are sunny for the most part through to Thursday before clouds roll in. And even though we see a bit of a cooling Friday through Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it's still going to feel like the mid to upper 30s. So there's still a chance that even Friday and Saturday are included in this extended heat warning situation. Let's look at your weather. Carlyle?
Thanks very much, Gary. Still ahead on CTV News, a cautionary tale for anyone thinking about buying property in Mexico. A new survey of Canadian renters has found affordability as the biggest hurdle despite dropping prices. The Rentals.ca poll surveyed about 1,200 renters, asking them about their current housing search. Around 70% said high rent is the biggest obstacle, compared to 11% who said it was hard to find a suitable listing. 6% said supply was too low. The national average for asking rent prices has fallen about 8% from the peak of $2,200 a month in May in 2024. A word of warning for Canadian snowbirds who own property in Mexico. As Pat Foran reports, there could be risks when investing money up front before a development is completed.
Pamela Jarvis of Mississauga walks with a cane and uses special gloves to help support her hands. She finds cold Canadian winters difficult and feels much better in the warmer climate Mexico has to offer.
My late husband and I used to go to Mexico all the time because it gave me some respite from, I have chronic pain throughout my body, so I've had rheumatoid arthritis since age 10.
It was Jarvis's dream to buy a property in Mexico, and when her husband passed, she decided to purchase a condo for her and her 2 children in Tulum, which is about 2 hours south of Cancun.
We were going to buy like a little place, rent it out when we're not using it, and then, go there for me as much as possible in the, to get away from Toronto winters.
Jarvis used a real estate agent and bought a pre-construction condo in Tulum in 2022. The developer wanted 90% of the money in advance, so she paid $167,000 US. The condo was to be finished in 2023, but there were constant delays. A friend sent her recent photos of the building site, and it appears nothing is happening.
A lot of them are not finishing, and it's hard to get your money back.
CTV News reached out to the developer but did not get a response. The real estate agent she used told us it's a sad situation. Unfortunately, it's happening with other pre-sale complexes in the area as well. A Bloomberg investigation into real estate in Tulum found over the past few years, many developments have been left unfinished, and many investors who purchased pre-construction condos have lost their money.
We found a lot of investors who never got their units.
Jarvis has hired a lawyer and is hopeful the condo will eventually be completed or that she gets her money back. But for now, her dream is on hold.
It's in a different country. I don't know anyone. I don't know the language. Looking back, I regret doing this.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Canada's main stock index was down amid broad-based losses. The TSX fell 156 points. In New York, the Dow gained 307. The Nasdaq added 523. The Canadian dollar lost 1/10 of a cent on commodity markets. Gold fell $57 an ounce. Oil gained $1.50 a barrel. Later on CTV News, one last walk down memory lane. Arthur Voaden graduates get to walk their old school's halls after it closes for good. Welcome back. A new poll suggests the federal Liberals are maintaining a lead over the Conservatives, but they have lost a little ground. The liaison poll shows the Liberals with 42% among decided and leading voters. The Conservatives trail at 34%, followed by the NDP at 13% and the Bloc Québécois at 6%. That's a 3-point drop in the Liberals' support compared to the last liaison poll. Mark Carney's approval rating rose slightly higher, though, just below 60%. The random phone survey of more than 1,500 people is considered accurate within 2.5 percentage points, 19 times out of 20. A new study is urging people to get medical attention immediately if they come into physical contact with a bat. The reminder comes as the latest issue of the Canadian Medical Association Journal focuses on the case of an 11-year-old boy who died of rabies nearly 2 years ago. The child came into contact with a bat at a cottage in northern Ontario. His parents did not take him to a doctor as the boy did not have any bite or scratch marks, but he died a month later. Doctors say rabies treatments are nearly 100% effective if given right after exposure. However, once symptoms appear, there is no treatment or cure for the fatal condition. A high school student from the Toronto area has earned national recognition for his photography skills. With more on the teenager and his award-winning snaps, here's Carol Charles.
It's been an exciting couple of weeks for Pickering High School student Ethan Gung. The grade 12 student has won back-to-back gold medals in photography, first at the Provincial Skills Competition and now at the Skills Canada National Competition.
I couldn't believe it. It was a rush of like shock and excitement and happiness and pretty much every emotion.
Gung was the only student from the Durham District School Board chosen to represent Team Ontario at Nationals, where he competed against some of the country's top young photographers.
Up on top here, we have some of my portfolio work that I submitted for the Ontario competition.
What makes Ethan's achievement even more remarkable is that he only picked up a camera for the first time 2 years ago in grade 10.
I remember picking up my first camera and being very, very confused by all the buttons and settings and everything that went on with the camera.
Without ever taking a formal photography course, Ethan taught himself through trial and error, shooting everything from landscapes and city streets to everyday moments.
Just being able to capture emotions, capture light and different compositions and improve my craft has been really fulfilling.
Ethan says competing on the national stage was an incredible experience and a chance to showcase the skills he has worked hard to develop in a relatively short time.
I really like to play around with his light and being able to find angles that accentuate the beauty of light and shadows.
His success didn't happen alone. Ethan credits the support and guidance of his photography teacher and mentor, Nelsha Riley, who encouraged him to develop his talent and challenge himself along the way.
She's taught me that critical eye that you need in order to evaluate photos.
Riley says Ethan has a natural eye for photography and spends countless hours outside the classroom honing the skills he has developed over the past 2 years.
He can just capture light, and he sort of takes the light and makes it a feature while telling the story. I'm super proud of Ethan. He just basically pushed himself, learned everything.
And while his future behind the camera certainly looks bright, Ethan is about to focus on a different kind of vision. This fall, Ethan will head to Queen's University with plans to study health sciences and eventually become a doctor. Carol Charles, CTV News.
Let's take a look at our CTV News weather snapshot. Thanks to Nancy Coughlin for sending in this great image. It is going to be hot, obviously. Heat warnings in place, and it could extend through to the weekend, Friday, Saturday perhaps. But we're sure the next 4 days straight will be above seasonal. Temperatures in the low to mid 30s, feeling like the low to mid 40s. And with that, also, the overnights are very warm. Temperatures in the low to mid-20s, feeling like the low to mid-30s. Stay cool, stay calm. We'll get through it, of course. That's how it's shaping up for the next several days.
An aftershock hit Venezuela today after last week's deadly earthquakes, disrupting search efforts for survivors. The 4.6 magnitude aftershock struck just north of the Venezuelan capital around 7 a.m. local time. Local authorities say rescue efforts have been non-stop trying to reach survivors. That was the moment rescue crews pulled a 21-year-old survivor from the rubble yesterday after spending more than 100 hours trapped. More than 1,700 people have been killed so far, thousands more people injured, with support crews and supplies coming in from 24 different countries. U.S. media are reporting American officials have agreed to a stand-down with Iran after trading fire near the Strait of Hormuz. Talks were scheduled for tomorrow in Switzerland, focused on Iran's nuclear program. They're now scheduled for Qatar, with discussions now shifting to security in the strait. Traffic through the Strait of Hormuz is still well below what it was before the conflict. Meanwhile, despite a new agreement signed just days ago, fighting between Iran-backed Hezbollah militants and Israeli forces flared in southern Lebanon over the weekend. According to Israeli military officials, they struck 3 Hezbollah command centers on Sunday and dismantled a launcher which they claim was used to direct attacks. Hezbollah say Israeli strikes hit residential buildings in the same areas, calling it a blatant ceasefire violation. Hezbollah were not part of the talks, and they have rejected the terms. The Danger Tree, a First World War icon in France with a Canadian connection, is getting a new look. With more on the revitalization project and what the monument symbolizes, here's Garrett Barry.
Mere meters from the Allied front lines, the Danger Tree is one of the only features in no man's land in Beaumont-Hamel. Just as it was on July 1st, 1916, when the Royal Newfoundland Regiment was ordered over the top directly into relentless German gunfire. In the devastating few minutes that followed, hundreds of those men and boys were killed or injured. Historians say the Danger Tree was the high point of the attack, many soldiers killed at its roots. Over the years, it was replaced and rebuilt, but never quite perfectly. And this year, to mark the 110th anniversary of the Battle of Beaumont-Hamel, the team from Memorial University in Newfoundland has built a true replica.
It certainly used a lot of the technologies and capabilities that we have, but I think the final appearance and the how it looks and feels and appears to folks was very important.
The Danger Tree is a bit of a solemn icon here in Newfoundland and Labrador, but part of the challenge in construction was finding out what exactly it looked like more than 100 years ago during the Battle of Beaumont-Hamel. The key, this picture, the only one researchers have found showing the Danger Tree with people standing nearby.
Started to gradually form out what that would look like in 3 dimensions with some imagination and try to guess the scale by the people that were in the picture.
So it showed the tree's size just after the end of the First World War. It also showed what it means for thousands of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians.
And the importance and significance, for this family to travel over and see the site that their loved one had died was really incredible. So that particular picture and memory for people, I think, really helped to shape what this was going to look like. The
tree replica is being installed in France and will be unveiled Tuesday ahead of the 110th anniversary of the Battle of Beaumont-Hamel next week. Garrett Barry, CTV News, St. John's.
Welcome back. Finally tonight, one last tour at Arthur Voaden Secondary School. The century-old building is now permanently shuttered, leaving bittersweet emotions for community members who took the opportunity to walk its halls one last time. Brent Lail reports.
As hundreds of people walked the halls one last time, they recalled the glory days at Arthur Voaden Secondary School.
A lot of memories. I had
A lot of good times here.
A public open house gave former students and staff a chance to reminisce one last time before the century-old building is shuttered. In April, the Thames Valley District School Board announced the school would close and be replaced.
It is not just a building, it's a family, and it's been very hard for everyone. We just break down in tears when we discuss it because many of the staff and the students, they won't be together anymore.
The closure even came as a shock to a centenary committee who were planning to celebrate the 100th anniversary. They negotiated the final walkthrough.
I went to school here in the 80s, and it was the best time to be here. We had the best football team, we had the best band. They went all over. They went to Europe, they went to Montreal. Everything was fantastic. It was booming. There was like 1,200 students at that time.
Couple John and Drenice Cowler met in the 1960s at Arthur Voaden.
It's memories, but it's sad for me that it's coming down.
John was an athlete for the then Red Devils. He proudly wore his varsity jacket.
It was a lot different then than it is now, I'm sure. You know, but I always enjoyed it. I like to play the sports, obviously, and that, so it made it worthwhile.
And it wasn't just those who hadn't walked these halls for decades, but also members of this year's final graduating class.
I loved our trades here, and I know that they're building another school, or they have money put aside to build another school, but I don't know if it's going to be a trade school, and I really hope it is, because the trades are so important. Like, I graduated with my healthcare trades, and I believe other students should get that right to do that as well.
The courses that we have here are hairstyling, manufacturing, construction, auto. The kitchen is top of the line. There's just so many things that make this building unique. The building is showing its age, sadly, because things have gone over the years. Nothing's really been put into the building.
The 100th anniversary celebration will still go ahead in September. It just won't be held in the brick building, which provided so many memories for so many people. Brent Lale, CTV News.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.